Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Lily Allen of all people, which I'm pretty sure I've actually never discussed on this channel, mainly because nothing has been going on as far as I've been aware. As you guys might know, I do quite enjoy tomfoolery. Tomfoolery, dilly-dallying, whimsy, all fun things which we rarely really talk about on this channel amidst all the murder and stuff. But this is tomfoolery, though I will say this is getting closer to the level of fuckery in the sense of it's not haha hee hee, but it's also not murder, so I guess it's better, question mark? What an intro, my god. Lily Allen responds to PETA after sending her brutal gift for getting rid of her dog when eating her passport. PETA has hit back at Lily Allen's response. Lily Allen has hit out PETA after the animal rights group sent her a brutal gift following the admission that she rehomed her dog for eating her passport. It all started when the 39-year-old singer opened up about her adopted pet pooch that quote-unquote ruined her life on an episode of her Miss Me podcast. She said the small dog, called Mary, moved in with her 2 kids in her New York townhouse. We actually did adopt a dog already, but then it ate my passport, so I took her back to the home, the musician explained. She ate all 3 of our passports, and they had our visas in, and I cannot tell you how much money it cost me to get everything replaced because it was COVID, so it was just an absolute logistical nightmare. There's already a lot here. Now, one thing I will say is that, generally speaking, if you do not have the patience or for whatever reason you are not up to taking care of an animal, I do think you should rehome it. I don't think you should keep an animal if you're like this, ready to rehome it at the first inconvenience. So honestly, I support her in rehoming in the sense of, much like when people decide to have children, I never think you should decide to have a child because you feel like you have to. It's because you want to, because there will be a mess at some point or another, and you have to really want them there to work through all of the anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness, whatever. With pets, it's the same thing. You gotta be equipped. If you're not equipped, then don't have one. So rehoming, I think, is a good idea. That being said, I think the choice should have been made more responsibly of getting a pet in the first place if you're not able to deal with all of this. I'm just saying. Also, I'm sorry, but unless this dog has arms and hands, why were your passports reachable to a dog? Like, where are you putting your passports for a dog to be able to reach them? That to me is also insane. Also, having 2 relatively young children, your passports shouldn't be within reach of a dog, let alone in the reach of children. So I'm weirded out by that, and I think that's her responsibility, honestly. With any dog you get, you have to expect them to eat something that they shouldn't, okay? But leaving your passports lying around so accessibly that your dog can get them, that one's on you. So adding on to the passport thing, she then said, and because the father of my children lives in England, I couldn't take them back to see their dad for like 4 months, 5 months, because this fucking dog had eaten the passports, and I just couldn't look at her. I was like, you've ruined my life. This is the dog in question, by the way. So I can completely understand being super frustrated at that situation, specifically during COVID and specifically because your kids can't see their father. That's some serious shit. So I can understand the frustration. But again, because the world was in such upheaval, you'd think that you'd keep your shit in order, keeping your passports in order, where a puppy can't just get to them. If they're that important, why are they accessible to a dog? Why are they lying around? And aside from that, it's like, you've ruined my life. Like, yes, obviously the children not seeing their father, serious, like I said. From there to ruined my life, it's a little bit dramatic, and I don't know. It just seems like she shouldn't have pets, honestly, unless she's already getting a trained adult dog, and even then, just because they're trained, it doesn't mean they won't find something that they want to tear to shreds. The comments were met by a fair bit of backlash after animal charity PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, issued an open letter to Allen asking, couldn't you have put your important documents in a drawer? And I mean, they're right. Honestly, it just sounds like she was ill-equipped or unprepared. So this is where it gets sassy, and I have to say, I kind of enjoy the bitchiness of all of this. PETA also sent her a mechanical dog with the message, it really is the only animal you should bring into your home. And I mean, like, This was definitely out of line for them to do in a hilarious way, in my opinion, but out of line. But also, they do have a point because, you know, it clearly doesn't seem like she can deal with animals. Anyway. However, Alan has taken to social media to call out the organization for adding fuel to the fire. I've had rescue dogs pretty consistently throughout my life since I was 4 years old. I'm pretty good at ascertaining a dog's needs. I've never been accused of mistreating an animal, and I've found this whole week very distressing, she said, adding, we rescued our puppy Mary from a shelter in New York, and we loved her very much, but she developed pretty severe separation anxiety and would act out in all manner of ways. There are certain things where I just don't feel like anything you say is going to help. This is one of those situations. Now granted, when people are giving you shit, it's incredibly difficult to not respond to the shit being given. But at the same time, it's like, whether you've had a billion rescue animals in your life and you're a dog expert or whatever, in this case is irrelevant because we're just talking about this isolated case. It didn't work out with the dog. You could have just said that the dog had separation anxiety and you weren't a good match. You could have just said you weren't a good match and that you weren't the right home for that dog. End of. It didn't have to turn into this whole fucking thing. I think that that's maybe a conversation that more people should be having because I know a lot of people talk about wanting to rescue dogs, which is great, but at the same time, with any pet, but especially with rescues, especially if they have, you know, traumatic pasts or have some kind of past as well, which is something you should be informed about. It's complicated. It's not just like you get a rescue dog and everything's chill. Like, you need to also be prepared for those complications. So if she just said it wasn't a good match, that the household wasn't right for this dog, it probably would have been met with some backlash, but sincerely less than her saying that a tiny dog ruined her life due to her own irresponsibility, I might add, and then giving this whole long spiel that nobody really asked for. Alan continued, she couldn't be left alone for more than 10 minutes. She had 3 long walks a day, 2 by us and 1 with a local dog walker and several other dogs. We worked with the shelter we rescued her from, and they referred us to a behavioral specialist and a professional trainer. It was volunteer from the shelter who would come and dog sit her when we were away, and after many months and much deliberation, everyone was in agreement that our home wasn't the best fit for Mary. PETA hit back at Alan's tweets, writing, you laughed when speaking about abandoning Mary and ruined this poor dog's life. She thought she had a loving forever home before you tossed her out, calling her that fucking dog who ruined my life. Shame on you, you don't even deserve the toy dog we sent you. PETA was not holding back. I do not know who was in charge of social media that day or generally, but really, like, they just fucking aired it all out. Like I said, had she just said that it wasn't the right fit, none of this would have occurred. And I think that's one of the craziest things about social media is that you'll talk about your own experience, and whether you're right or wrong, you'll talk about your own experience. And I feel like people forget that the organizations involved with some of your experiences, like PETA, will chime in. That's the craziest part of it all. Like, you could go to Disney, complain about Disney, and then you're gonna get someone, some higher up from Disney answering your tweet. And I think that's one of the funniest things about social media. But one of the things that people most consistently forget that usually ends up with those people shooting themselves in the foot, because had you not complained, they wouldn't have said that you laughed and called the dog that fucking dog that ruined my life or whatever, which makes you all look worse. Alan replied, people laugh when they talk about painful things all the time. It's quite normal. I've clarified that we didn't abandon her and that she was rehomed with people we knew almost immediately. Why are you perpetuating lies? What kind of animal welfare charity tries to shame someone for wanting to improve the welfare of an animal? Your post is dangerous. Now, let me be clear, I don't particularly like PETA just due to some of the things in the past that I'm not going to get into right now. So me thinking this is funny is not me completely supporting that organization, let me be very clear. I haven't checked in on them in a while, I probably should. Again, all of this turned into a fucking thing because Lily Allen started it. Now, whether PETA is perpetuating lies or not, I don't know. PETA's response read, as someone high profile with a platform, what you say matters. Laughing about this fucking dog being sent back sends a dangerous message. Every move is traumatic to a homeless dog who can never expect this home is forever. So that's where it all ended. Honestly, I think the dramatics are just like off the charts for everyone, even PETA, because it's like the reality is she had to rehome this dog because they weren't a right fit. It's probably best that she did rehome the dog because it would have gotten probably more trauma living in a household that is not matched with that dog's needs. So it's better off this way. So also PETA continuing, you know, the whole conversation isn't particularly productive, though some parts, like I said, were funny. That being said, you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's always kind of the same thing with celebrities. I think that a lot of things that they do are kind of non-issues or not really that big of a deal until they turn it into one and then complain about it. If you hadn't said the dog had ruined your fucking life, none of this probably would have happened. If you said that you rehomed the dog because of behavioral issues, whatever, people probably would have bitched, yeah, but like not that much. And also like nobody's forcing you to say this shit online. It's not like anyone was asking you for proof that the dog lived in your house. So again, privacy. I always say online, keep a level of privacy because otherwise shit will very quickly unravel. But again, I'm cynical, so whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.